So I first heard this theory on Texan's channel. The link is in the description, and I recommend everyone check it out and subscribe to his channel. He does a good job breaking things down. I've also interviewed him in the past on this channel, and it turned out really well, so I'll post both links in the description. Be sure to check them out. You will like them. Now, in this video, I will expand on that theory I heard on Texan's channel, and I will use visuals to help define it. Whether this theory is indeed true is open for speculation. However, it's not a far leap to imagine this is indeed the case. And even if it's not true, future consequences could be severe if this is allowed to continue. So let's begin. The theory in question is in relation to CNN pushing the Donald Trump and Russia collusion story, and that it is more than biased hatred toward Trump that is fostering this type of reporting. For those who don't know, CNN's parent company, Time Warner, is in the process of an $85.4 billion merger with AT&T. While we're on the subject, Time Warner just so happened to be Hillary's 7th biggest campaign donor during the election. Now, that doesn't mean that they were biased toward Hillary, but as Chris Cuomo himself said, they were.
Take quite a while longer. What happens to other folks who want a chance to run against her?
Because she's doing what they call in politics freezing pockets. Because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't. And I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way to deciding.
We'll see.
About deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know what I mean? She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaigns.
That was just a little added tidbit. Moving on. The theory goes that Jeff Zucker, president of CNN, told his employees to start up a scandalous anti-Trump storyline during the election. The scandal in question, the Trump and Russia collusion narrative. The reason for this narrative was to keep Trump out of the White House by clouding him in scandal, or get him kicked out of the White House if he was to win. Time Warner and AT&T wanted Hillary as president because they knew that she would have approved of their merger by bypassing any investigation relating to antitrust regulations. Trump is unpredictable, and it's quite possible that his DOJ would negate any type of merger by investigating the merger's alleged antitrust policy, and then rule that it violates regulations. For those who don't know, mergers this big are heavily scrutinized by the Antitrust Division at the Department of Justice. The term antitrust refers to legislation that prevents major companies from being monopolized, which inhibits economic competition, such as the Federal Reserve. But that is a banking monopoly that people never want to talk about, and a monopoly that most people aren't even aware of. But I digress. Anyways, those involved in the merger claim there is no issue with antitrust regulations since Time Warner and AT&T aren't directly competing with each other for business, and therefore there is no monopolization present. However, AT&T has a nationwide footprint with its wireless and DirecTV satellite services, and they could use that reach to demand higher fees from media companies and other cable satellite firms. As an example, AT&T could charge competitors higher fees for Time Warner content such as HBO. This example is one of the arguments against the merger. Anyways, back to the CNN narrative. By creating an artificial and fabricated story regarding Trump, CNN would receive more ratings, which causes more advertisers to flock towards CNN, which increases the overall profit and garners more public support for the merger and puts more pressure on the Trump administration to let the merger go through. And now that CNN, their ratings are so low, they are desperate to usurp Trump at all possible costs. The New York Times reported that there has been a populist shift toward other outlets such as Netflix and YouTube, and this transference will expand the consolidation of businesses to other corporations to regain their lost viewership, which have transitioned toward YouTube and other social media platforms. So in a nutshell, more businesses will look to team up with other companies to garner more public viewership, which negates smaller companies or YouTubers with political channels. In conclusion, whether this theory is true is open for speculation, as I said earlier. But regardless of its authenticity, this merger accurately depicts how America is no longer capitalistic. It no longer uses capitalism as its economic principle, but rather it relies on corporatism. The truth of the matter is, America hasn't been truly capitalistic for decades, and instead, it fuels its engine by administering crony capitalism, aka corporatism. So even if this theory regarding CNN creating a false narrative to help their merger go through is false, the consequences of the merger could have dire consequences for the American people, which makes this issue severe and very important. We could see our prices shoot up. We could see more businesses consolidating with other businesses, which increases the monopolization of our country and harms small business owners and independent media outlets, which would dictate the type of media we are to see on a regular basis. Imagine, as an AT&T user, your phone being inundated with left-leaning news sources like CNN every time you turn your phone on. This merger must be prevented. I cannot stress this enough. This merger must not go through. We do not need more monopolies in this country. And I'm done.